Hello and welcome. You're watching News Now on TV360 Nigeria. I am Annetta Felix. President Muhammadu Buhari has held a security meeting with service chiefs in the country. At the meeting, President Buhari was briefed on the recent developments in view of the security challenges in parts of the country. The meeting was attended by Minister of Defense Mansa Danali, the National Security Advisor Babagana Mogono, Chief of Defense Staff General Abayomi Olonishakin. Also present at the meeting were the Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Tuku Buratai, the Chief of Air Staff Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, the Chief of Naval Staff Vice Admiral Ibok Ekwe Ibas, and the Inspector General of Police Mohammed Adamu, among others. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has launched the Micro Pension Plan MPP for workers in the informal sector. The MPP, which is an initiative of the National Pension Commission, PENCOM, is aimed at providing pension services to self-employed persons in the informal sector and employees of organizations with less than 3 staff. Now, speaking at the launch, the Secretary General of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, emphasized the importance of the scheme, saying it helps the governments to generate investable long-term funds for economic development.
The Micro Pension Plan is an initiative under the Contributory Pension Scheme developed with the strategic objective of expanding the pension coverage to the informal sector of the Nigerian economy. The product was developed by the National Pension Commission pursuant to the provisions of Section 2, Subsection 3 of the Pension Reform Act 2014, which entitles workers in private sector organizations with less than 3 employees as well as self-employed persons to participate as contributors under the Contributory Pension Scheme in accordance with the guidelines to be issued by the Commission. Today's formal launch by Mr. President will mark the commencement of marketing and enrollment of participants to the Micro Pension Plan by the licensed pension operators. We expect that within few years of implementation, the Micro Pension Plan will not only expand the pension coverage to a greater number of Nigerians, but will boost the quantum of the pool of long-term pension assets available for economic development.
The Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has ordered the rearrest of the leader of IPOB, Indigenous People of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu. Justice Bintan Yaku gave the order in a ruling on Thursday after revoking the bail granted to the IPOB leader. She explained that the court gave the order because Kanu had failed to appear in court after his bail was granted in April 2017. The judge also ordered that trial would continue in his absence, adding that a fresh date will be fixed for the continuation of the case. The ruling is in response to an application filed by the prosecuting counsel, Magaji Labaran, praying the courts to try Kanu in absentia. The matter has now been adjourned till June 18. The Federal Executive Council has approved an agreement for the transfer of some Nigerians serving international jail terms back to the country to guide their constitutional rights. The Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, addressing journalists in Abuja, revealed the agreement was signed between Nigeria and China.
The second memo that was presented by the Office of the Attorney General was a memo relating to the transfer of sentenced persons, which was signed between the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the government of the Macau Special Administrative Region of the People's Republic of China. Well, Nigeria as a nation recognizes the rights of its citizens across the globe. And we have a lot of Nigerians serving prison terms internationally. And recognizing its constitutional responsibility and their right to dignity as humans, the federal government of Nigeria now has taken a decision to consider the possibility of signing agreements with countries of interest for the purpose now of according the Nigerians an opportunity to consider coming back home to serve their prison terms so that they could now be accorded the dignified treatment by their relations when the need arises, and then perhaps consider the possibility of making provisions for their rehabilitation accordingly. It is an agreement that considered a tripartite consent of the parties, the country where Nigerians are serving prison term, Nigeria as a country, and the interest and consent of the prisoners as well. So an agreement that was signed between Nigeria and Macau was now presented for ratification of the Council. It was taken, considered, and eventually approved by the Council.
Civil rights advocacy group Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, has scarred the federal government low in its fight against corruption. In its latest report called Nigeria Anti-Corruption Performance Assessment Survey, SERAP noted that despite the anti-graft war by the current administration, corruption has not abated. According to the group, the report was released after a survey carried out in the country's 6 geopolitical zones between November and December 2018. The group further stated that respondents in the survey were of the opinion that the anti-graft war is inadequate and unconvincing. Meanwhile, acting chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has rejected the report, saying the Buhari-led anti-corruption crusade is a huge success. Now, the government and stakeholders in the building and construction sector are scaling up efforts to address the recent building collapse in some states in the country. The Nigerian Institution of Civil Engineers, in partnership with a construction company, has now introduced a new building material to ensure better structures in the country. Now, this next report tells us more.
This is a 4- and 5-bedroom apartment constructed with polystyrene, a new building technology used to form walls and floor panels. This technology is introduced by a construction company, Monumental Works Limited, based in Lagos, Nigeria. The managing director of the firm, Femi Ogundari, enumerates the advantages of this technology in building construction.
We have used polystyrene materials to form wall panels, floor panels, and used to construct the claddings for our buildings, as well as the suspended floor slabs. What do we do is that, for the floors, we have the polystyrene forming the hollow part within the ribs, onto which we put steel and then pour concrete. Now, in the walls, which is something you can see, the naked wall panels here, we have the polystyrene forming the fills in between the mesh. The mesh is galvanized steel, just to reduce the possibility of rusting. Now, we spray concrete onto this, and then it gives you a wall with 2 sides in reinforced concrete. Hence, and therefore, you have a reinforced concrete wall with a polystyrene filled core. What that does for us is that, first of all, the polystyrene itself is very lightweight, so reduce the weight on the building. Secondly, by the time you have a concrete wall on both sides, a first concrete wall on both sides, it increases the strength of the building. Now, if you see the mesh we have around here, the mesh is continuous all around the building. So the possibility of a breakthrough in this direction is very, very minimized. The failure of the wall is reduced to the barest minimum.
This innovative technology has also drawn the attention of the Nigerian Institution of Civil Engineers, who are praising the initiative.
There is a new technology that is in construction industry today called expanded polystyrene EPS. It's a material that has so many benefits when it comes to project delivery in the construction industry. And as part of our keeping our members current and up to date on innovations in the construction industry, we decided to do two things. Firstly, to have a technical presentation on EPS, which was yesterday, and then immediate follow-up of a site visit of a typical project where this is extensively deployed.
When you are using it for construction, let's start from foundation. You are reducing the cost of a foundation because you are using a lightweight material. And at the end of the day, by the time you are finishing a building, you can conveniently be able to save about 50% using conventional method now. For example, now with less than 3 million, you can do a bungalow on a solid ground that you don't need foundations and all that for.
The difference between this material in question and the regular concrete blocks that we make use of lies in the difference in its weight. This material has light weight, but as you know, compared with a regular concrete block and concrete, it is much more lighter in weight than the other ones. The panels are adequately reinforced, on either side, with a wire mesh, and the covering is made of concrete materials. So ultimately, it will stand the test of time to some extent.
In the past few weeks, Nigeria has recorded at least 4 building collapse cases, with Lagos taking the biggest hit. To remedy this situation, the federal government has charged building contractors and developers to follow every laid-down rules while executing their duties, or be prepared to face the full wrath of the law. Adeshawa Dushoga, TV360, Nigeria.
Former Lagos State Governor and the national leader of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Bola Tinubu, have kicked against a planned hike in value-added tax, VAT, by the federal government. Tinubu, speaking at his 11th colloquium in Abuja, warns that such decision was capable of worsening the nation's economy. The Minister of Budget and National Planning, Udo Udoma, had announced that the federal government might increase the value-added tax to fund the new 30,000 naira minimum wage approved by the Senate. But the government's decision was greeted by criticism from stakeholders in the business sector, including the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, MAN, which said VAT increase would leave the economy in a more vulnerable state. Now, Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike has inaugurated a judicial commission of inquiry to investigate the violence, killings and other related matters which occurred during the February 23rd and March 9, 2019 general elections in the state. Now, the Rivers State government also inaugurated a panel to probe the violent invasion and attack on the Rivers State judiciary and destruction of public properties. The commissions were inaugurated at a government house in Port Harcourt with a charge to submit their reports after 30 days. Wike explained that though the function before the 2 judicial commissions of inquiry would be taxing, he urged the members to work diligently to deliver within the scheduled period. About 5 children have been reported missing following the demolition of Divine Wounds of Jesus Christ Orphanage Home by persons believed to be officials of the Federal Capital Development Authority, FCDA, Abuja. The demolition took place during the day when the children in the orphanage were sleeping and others writing exams.
This is what is left of Divine Wounds of Jesus Christ Orphanage Home, Kubwa, Abuja, after the demolition by FCDA officials. The structure, which was commissioned in 2011, comprises a rehabilitation center, a church, and the orphanage home, which harbors well over 150 orphans. The incident, which occurred on March 26th, came as a rude shock to all, and this explains the gathering of staff and visitors alike in discussions. This is Victoria Zemoka, the founder of the orphanage home. She says her greatest worry is an accommodation for the children, adding that a search and rescue mission is in place for the missing.
I have been having problem with my husband's brother, who claimed to have this land. He said that my husband sold the land to him. And we have been in court for it. So my greatest surprise, they entered, begin to demolish everywhere. By August last year, I went for outreach. They called me and said that the development control has come to lock the children inside. I called people, I begged the government to come and assist me. They asked me to go to the development control, and I found out when I get there, they said it's my husband's brother that sent them to come and lock everywhere. That I should go and settle my case with him. I went and called him on phone. Because where he lives now, it's no man, I can't go there. It's not easy entry. He gave me, after all my pleading and everything, he gave me 3 options. If I can be able to do this, he will leave the land for me. What is that 3 options? He wants to marry me. He wants me to make him general overseer of the commission. He wants me to go back to Catholic Church. I told him that all these things I can't do it. We are still searching for them. The walls that are in my hand is in my house, my own personal house. While we have electoral accommodation, we park them there. And we are trying every possible thing to make sure that by today evening, they will park into a better place.
Thereafter, TV360 crew took a trip to a makeshift apartment which houses about 150 of the children. The visit was as timely as it could be, as some of the children were seen having their meals in a rather pathetic environment. The situation speaks for itself, as the one primary demand at the moment is a conducive shelter for these ones, something close to what they were used to at the orphanage.
It was devastating at the site, considering most of the children were sleeping. Most of them were still taking their exams in school. And personally, I was sleeping with a child in the same room, and they were already demolishing. So our mommy came and woke me up. I was in shock, just like every other child there. Some had to defecate on their body. Some were very, very unconscious, because even as adults, if you had seen the site yesterday, you would have been moved. Talk more of children. So it was really devastating. And funny enough, the heartless people they sent to come and take the place down did not even have pity on the children. They were rough handling us. They beat up one of our workers that was trying to beg them to take it easy on the children, so we can get some few things out that we can use to live after. But they refused. Our demand is shelter. Nigerians should provide shelter for us. We want our home back, Abby. Yes. We want our home back. We want our comfortability back. We're okay before they came to take our home away. We want our place of habitation back, because we are not animals. We are Nigerians. So we are human beings. So we deserve a life. We deserve a home, just like every other person. So we are begging you, should please give us justice. Help us to fight this and give us justice to get our place back.
One can only but wonder what becomes of this whole scenario as the case is still in court. Adekunle, TV360, Nigeria.
You're still watching News Now on TV360 Nigeria. Do stay with us. We'll be right back.
Some minutes say the incident has been managed.
This morning.
Thanks for staying with us, and we have Fidelia Aguncha standing by for business. Hello, Fidelia.
Hi, Annetta.
So, news making rounds shows that the CBN governor has made an appraisal of Nigeria's economy. Is that true?
Yes, Annetta. Governor of the Central Bank, Godwin Emefiele, says there has been steady improvement in Nigeria's economy in the past 5 years. Emefiele, speaking at a press briefing in Abuja, listed areas of improvement to include GDP growth, rising foreign reserves, among others. The Apex Bank governor is at the peak of his 5-year tenure after assuming office in 2015.
If you consider the fact that, for instance, January 2017, inflation had attained a level of 8.72%. By October 2017, as a result of the pressure in the global market, reserves had dropped to about 23 billion. By that same month, even what was being accreted into central bank had dropped to even about just $500 million from as high as about over 3 billion in sometime in August 2013, 2014. If you also recall that sometime February 2017, exchange rate as a result of the pressures had accelerated to as high as 525, but that if you compare those numbers with where we are today, inflation at 11.3%, reserves at actually close to 45, and we feel this trend will continue. Exchange rate converging in all the markets at around between 358 to 360. GDP effectively, I would say, being in positive trajectory consistently for almost about 5 to 6 quarters, then you would agree with me that there has been a relative stability, and we have proved that there is a sustainability in the level of stability in the macroeconomic indices in Nigeria.
The Federation Accounts Allocation Committee, FAC, has shared a total of 619.857 billion naira as revenue to the 3 tiers of government for the month of February. The Director of Funds from the Federal Ministry of Finance, Mohammed Usman, said the amount comprised income from various sectors, namely statutory revenue, value-added tax, exchange gain, excess bank charges recovered, and foreign equalization.
And the total Federation revenue for the month of February, distributable in the month of March, is 619,857 million naira. This consists of the statutory revenue allocation of 478.434 billion naira, as against 505.246 billion naira in the month of January, distributed in February. This indicated a variance of 26.812 billion naira. This statutory revenue is subjected to cost of collection for Nigerian Customs Service, the Federal Inland Revenue Service, and Department of Petroleum Resources, and also the derivation for Lagos State and others. After these are deducted, the sum of 468.707 billion naira is what remains as net statutory allocation.
Lawmakers in the National Assembly have called on ministries, departments, and agencies to ensure that the 2019 budget implementation surpasses the 45% mark. The lawmakers made the call while declaring open a national hearing on the 2019 budget in Abuja. This next report gives more details.
This is the third public hearing on the 2019 national budget. Here, Speaker of the House of Representatives Yakubu Dagara urged heads of government agencies to be timely in defending their budget so it can be passed without delay.
Since this is the last budget in the life of the 8th National Assembly, the time is not on our side. We would like to make haste slowly. Heads of MDS can help in this noble effort by making appearances in good time before the relevant committees to defend their estimates, as some have started doing, which is commendable, and I must commend the heads of MDS who have already appeared before the relevant committees to defend their budget estimates.
The 2018 budget was put at 9.1 trillion naira. This year, the 2019 budget is down to 8.9 trillion naira. Minister of Budget and National Planning, Udo Udoma, explains the reason for the cut.
We have to make sure that the budget can be financed, and it is to ensure that we do not keep on increasing the level of borrowing. And that is why we have brought down the budget size. We brought it down so as to keep the deficit, within financeable limits. And so that is why we have a budget of 8.83 trillion naira.
Chairman of the Senate Committee on Appropriation, Senator Danjuma Goje, says the federal government is ensuring that all stakeholders are carried along in the passage of the budget.
The main objective of this hearing is to promote an all-inclusive and active stakeholder participation in the process leading to the passage of the 2019 budget. As active promoters or defenders of good governance, it is our hope that your contributions today will help the National Assembly achieve its pledge to the Nigerian people, which is in tandem with the federal government roadmap as expressed in the Economic Recovery Growth Plan, ERGP 2017-2020.
It's the second quarter of 2019, and the national budget is yet to be passed. This incurs negative consequences for the country, including a slowdown of economic activities.
Well, let's now look at activities on the stock market after this break. Well, after 3 days in the red, the Nigeria Stock Exchange is posting its first gain for the week, appreciating by 0.01%. Well, these gains were influenced by gains recorded by these equities, that's Presco, NASCON, Guarantee Trust Bank, and CNI Leasing, which is appreciating by 9.90%. The pack of losers, however, is led by CCNN, that's Cement Company of Northern Nigeria, Dangote Flour, PZ Cussons, and Union Bank of Nigeria, and they are falling by 5%, 4.55%, 5% again, and 7.04%. In summary, we can see that activities in the market was quite improved compared to that of yesterday. In fact, the volume of shares traded today is coming in at 1.918 billion. Now, that is a big improvement compared to the volume of shares traded the previous day, which was on Wednesday. And the value is coming in today at 2.803 billion naira, while the dues is at 2,807. Well, to the foreign scene, we can see that the Nikkei is the only one closing in the red, as the FTSE and Dow are posting gains just like the NSE. The FTSE is appreciating by 0.56%, while the Dow saw a boost of 0.025% to close at 25,621 basis points, and that's its all-share index. Well, that's been a look of activities at the stock market and in the world of business. It's back to Annette Felix.
Thanks for that update, Fidelia. Moving on now, at least 15 people have been killed in a car bomb explosion near a hotel and restaurant in Somalia's capital, Mogadishu, according to rescue services. The blast on Thursday afternoon in the busy Makkah Al Mukarramah road sent a huge cloud of smoke into the sky, causing destruction in nearby buildings and packed cars with no immediate claim of responsibility. Mogadishu is regularly targeted by Al-Shabaab, an Al-Qaeda-affiliated group that has been fighting to topple the country's government. Manchester United has appointed Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as its new permanent manager until 2022. After a successful spell as temporary boss, the club legend had initially taken over until the summer, replacing Jose Mourinho in December after a series of poor results and uninspiring performances. But with the Norwegian at the helm, United has experienced an upturn in form. Solskjaer was unbeaten in his first 11 games in charge, and his side produced a historic display to beat Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League round of 16. And that's it here on News Now on TV360 Nigeria. Thanks for keeping it today with us. Bye for now.